Hello everyone, welcome. My name is MJ Pestridge. Welcome to another flight simulator related video. And yesterday, the recording of this video, we had an announcement from Microsoft Flight Simulator for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, which is a brand new follow-up sequel simulator to the 2020 Microsoft Flight Simulator. And I'm going to talk about it for a bit. I think the introduction to any new flight sim is good news for the flight sim community, regardless of who's releasing it. It's great that we have so much diversity, and so much choice. And there is no right or wrong sim to use. It's personal preference, and whichever one you feel the most comfortable with or take the most enjoyment from is your simulator of choice, and that is fine. And everyone's going to have a different opinion on that. The announcement that they have made was that they released a trailer. And it looks like it's a focused sim on gameplay for like missions, careers. There's many different ones to choose from, all of which like you can currently do in the P3D simulator. But this looks really fun. This looks really exciting. They've actually brought out an announcement as well to say that we are excited to share much more information about the next generation of the Microsoft Flight Simulator franchise in the coming months. We've been monitoring feedback from the trailer very closely and apologize for our delayed communication. We would like to take the opportunity to address some of the most common questions that we've seen, which is, will it be a completely standalone sequel or will it be offered as a paid update to the existing players? And they've stated that Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 is a standalone simulator and the next generation sequel to Microsoft Flight Simulator that launched in 2020. Current aircraft and airports that are in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, as well as virtually all marketplace add-ons, will be supported in the new sim. Now, to me, that suggests when they say next generation simulator that they're using a different engine graphically that will run, because typically in the past, even with Microsoft but other developers like Lockheed Martin, when they bring out a new version, it's because the graphics engine's updated, from like DX10 to 11 to 12. Now Microsoft 2020 ran DX11 at launch, and then they introduced the ability to switch to 12 during like halfway through its release, and you can either use 11 or 12, and I think most people found that 12 had more problems than 11, was more stable, but there was more graphical options, or there was more beautiful scenery available in DirectX 12 mode. It just came at a more unstable cost, but that's usually the reason for bringing out a new version. Now, the fact that everything is supported from the past into the future suggests that it uses the same or similar graphic engine. Like, there is no DirectX 13 yet. That has not been created or launched yet. We're still in the sort of, I'd say, adolescence years of DirectX 12. It's not finalized like DirectX 11 is, so there's still a way to go on that. But unless they're using like Unreal Engine 5 relatable engines, then this would have the same engine as the previous one in order for all those add-ons to continue working. But that's more like an Unreal Engine 4 compatible engine. So let's hope that they are using an Unreal Engine 5. Now, looking at the trailer, it looks very similar to Microsoft 2020, but it does look different at the same time. The shaders is the biggest increase of change I can see. Graphics wise, everything kind of looks the same-ish, but with a higher level of shine. The clouds look relatively the same. There's a few bits more of detail in the landscape, like the Grand Canyon and the smoke effects, but mainly it does look very similar to 2020, so that would suggest they're using the same engine. But at the end of the day, until they release anything, we will never know. But what they have said is that what kind of support can Microsoft 2020 players expect to see once 2024 has been released? And because, you know, when they released 2020, they said we've got a 10-year support plan. So, you know, effectively, it's still in beta now. It's unfinished according to what they want to add to it. And a 10-year support plan to me suggests that it's going to take 10 years to finish what we want to add to the sim, but it actually now looks more like it's more like a 10-year support for that sim, because once, like, if you go by what they've done in the past, and let's face it, they've released a flight sim when in the 90s every 2 years almost, and once the change to the new one was in focus, the kind of shift of attention would focus on that new one, and still people would use the old one and they'd still support it, but there was more of an attention on the new one than the old one. And then eventually the old one would die off after like 2 or 3 generations. So if we get a 2028 release of a new Microsoft Flight Sim, or a 2030 new release, then 2020 pretty much no one's going to use. There will still be people using it, but you know, will the server still be running? That's the main thing. We don't know at the end of the day. We just have to wait and see. But they did say we will continue to deliver our Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 roadmap, which is 10 years, which has content ranging from aircraft and avionics updates, sim updates, city and world updates, and also the free Dune DLC coming in November. We will continue to support Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 post the Microsoft launch of 2024. So they do and will continue what they said they would when they launched 2020 by continuing up to the 2030 date. Now, it's still a big question mark if it means that they will no longer support 2020 come 2030, or if they'll just finish building the sim and then let it go on its own pace. We don't know. And we don't know if another simulator after 2024 will be launched in that time either. So everything's just like a little bit of a question mark at the moment, and we just have to be patient and wait for answers. But what they have said, or the community has asked rather, is will all the purchases that we've made for 2020 be transferable to the new sim? And this is the good news. With very few exceptions, virtually all add-ons that worked in 2020 today will function in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. Add-ons that were purchased from the in-simulator marketplace will not need to be repurchased again in 2024. So if you bought it from a third-party site like SimMarket or from PMDG Direct, then maybe they might charge for a update to 2024. But if you bought it in the marketplace of 2020, then you will be able to play it in 2024 with just probably a minor update from the developer. But it should work, they say, and their intention, they say, is for all of it to transfer forward, so you can enjoy all your purchases in the new sim plus the new content. Now, I look at the new content and I look at the trailer for the new sim, and you've got to remember, when 2020 trailer launched, it looked really good, but when the actual simulator launched, it didn't look as nearly as good as that trailer. And I have a feeling it's going to be the same for 2024. The trailer looks fantastic. The graphics look great. The gameplay that you have there looks really fun. I have a feeling it's not going to look exactly like the trailer when it does launch. So, and I have a feeling that they may do the tiered subscription thing again. So if you have Game Pass already, then you will be able to play the standalone version or the standard version of 2024 for free as part of the Game Pass. There will probably be a premium version with more missions, more career opportunities, more content at the end of the day, and then there'll be a deluxe version that has even more, you know. And obviously there'll be 3 different prices for anybody who doesn't have Xbox subscription. So it's a new simulator, which means it's the cost of a new simulator. But from what I see in the trailer, all of this, unless the engine of the previous 2020 sim, you know, does not function for what it needs to do for the new sim, all of this could have been in an update, could have been an add-on to 2020. They could have packaged this as career mode 2020 and just put it in. But I have a feeling that the reason they've built a new sim is because they probably are using a new graphics engine, and there's things there that they can't do in 2020 that they want to take advantage of the latest and greatest. So let's make a new simulator. And it just means that for those who maybe have bought 2020 and they want the full experience of 2024, you're going to have to shell out perhaps upwards of £100 on a new simulator, as opposed to 40 quid on an add-on package, which, you know, at the end of the day, these are human beings that do the work. They need to get paid. So fair enough. Like, you know, we never did mind a new simulator coming out every 2 years back in the 90s. Like, I got FS2000, and then like months after I bought it, which was in 2001, I believe, like 2002 came out at the end of 2001, I think it was. Literally months after I bought 2001, I thought, oh man, if I'd only just held off a few more months, I could have got the latest one. But in all honesty, it was focused on airports, more so, or like being a pilot, more so than anything. I actually never bought 2002. I went straight to 2004 Century of Flight, and I didn't go back to 2000. I stayed on 2004. And then like a few years later, we had FSX come out. I never actually got that at launch because I was still using 2004, but I got it when the acceleration pack came out, which was their kind of like an addition to their latest one, rather than a new whole simulator. But it kind of was a new whole simulator because it took advantages that the original sim couldn't do, and it had a lot more content that wasn't in the original sim. So it was actually kind of like a 1.5 addition to the sim. And I got the acceleration pack version of FSX. So I tend to skip generations. So I got P3D version 5. You know, that's why I don't connect with MFS that much, because that was the next version. So I'll probably skip straight to like P3D V6 or go to Microsoft 2024 more likely. Like I did get 2020. I did do some reviews for it for Sim Market, and I did give it a go as part of the Xbox Game Pass, but I couldn't connect with it for my own personal reasons, and there's nothing wrong with that simulator, but I just preferred P3D, so I stuck with that, and that's fine. And if anybody prefers 2020, that's fine as well. But I saw a massive uproar when this trailer announced, and even myself started, you know, chatting in the community, and was surprised at the announce of this release from Microsoft, because they really did show dedication and focus for 2020 when they launched it. They, I feel, were accurate and not accurate with their launch, you know. But at the end of the day, releasing a simulator every so often is exactly what happens in the community of flight simulation, and that's never changed and doesn't look like it's going to change, you know. So that's just a fact. So it is what it is. But what I think Microsoft didn't consider is when they brought out 2020, they were aiming it, and they didn't admit it, but they were aiming it at the gaming market, because there is a massive market for gamers under the Xbox, you know, logo. Whereas flight simulation had a very niche community. And when 2020 came out, we had a flood of users for flight simulation. And gaming mentality and flight simulation mentality, two different things. And I think this new simulator is purely aimed at gamers rather than flight simmers. So if you want to fly a commercial airline, you can put in your, you know, PMDG or your Phoenix or whatever you want, but it's aimed at gameplay. It's aimed at gamers. And I have a feeling this is really going to divide their community into flight simmers for 2020, gamers for 2024. And flight simmers will buy 2024 and probably use it as well. But I have a feeling this is, by 2030, I have a feeling 2020 will no longer be around because of this, what seems to be the old pattern of releasing. You know, it does happen in the past where the new one comes out, the old one slowly fades away. And when that simulator, which is dependent on an online connection, dependent on those servers from, Azure, when it becomes to a point where it's no longer profitable, they will shut it down. They've done it with 3 flight sims in the past. So this just confirms that 2020 has like a life on it now, rather than, you know, longevity. But it's fine because they will release future sims, so people will hop on to 2024. I'm sure 2028 will become a reality, or 2030, and they'll continue to add and make new versions as the graphics hardware and engines update in the future as well, because that's what everybody does. Laminar Research did it with X-Plane. Lockheed Martin do it with every DirectX update. You know, a new version, new graphic features, you know, new sim, and that's fine. But the gaming community, who is also used to a game coming out every single year, they'll play it for a bit and then move on. I don't think they've really considered the effect of this for those gamers who are now flight simmers. And I think a lot of people are nervous that their flight sim is going to go bye-bye. And it won't. It will be around for a while. 2020 will still have its, you know, legs in the community, but I don't think by 2030, once they said that they'll finish building the sim, it will last much longer than that. I think it will go bye-bye, because the focus will be on the other sims of the future, and most people have already moved. There's very few people that play FSX still. There's still a community there for it, but we're talking hundreds now, not hundreds of thousands like there used to be. People still use P3D, but we're probably again talking less than thousands, or thousands rather than the hundreds of thousands that used to. There's now hundreds of thousands for Microsoft Flight Sim when there used to be millions. So the shift will happen and divide that community, and we're getting a new sim with a career mode, which I might say has been in the community wanting since the days of FSX. So the community are getting what they want. Microsoft are giving it to them, and that's great. Like, I think that's great news for the flight sim community. I myself will still use P3D because I just prefer, you know, it and its flexibility. That's all. And the future, I'm sure, will be bright with that as well, and probably graphically and flexible will become even more flexible. But I'm sure graphically, who knows what the future holds. But anyway, I just wanted to put together this, like, thoughts on it. But last time I did this for 2020, everybody hated on me and said I was wrong, and it turned out to be right. So I guess time will just tell. You know, I don't hate anyone for choosing to fly any particular simulator, so I wouldn't expect the same in return. But anyway, I'll probably get it when it comes out to check out, and I'm sure everybody watching this video will. But there it is. We got a new flight sim from Microsoft. Microsoft Flight Sim 2024, or as some people call it, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2. Either way, it looks great. Thank you so much for watching this, guys. Don't forget, I do a giveaway of flight sim vouchers for Sim Market. €50 every single month. All you have to do to be in with a chance to win is be a subscriber to this channel, leave a comment down in any of my flight sim videos, and at the end of the month, every single month, I go live with a vlog and I'll announce the winner who gets those vouchers, and you just contact me on the About page. Have an awesome day, happy flying, safe landings, and I'll see you in the virtual skies. Take care. Bye-bye.
Play it day one with Game Pass.